This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening. I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. It's official. Next Wednesday will be decision day for the Grand Bahama Port Authority. The nation's leader has announced that on that day, the government's position regarding the expired portions of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement will be made clear. Tonight, the Minister for Grand Bahama is giving an overview of the process. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
We have definitely found a formula on the way forward.
It is that economic formula that officials believe will provide the impetus needed to revitalize the economy of Grand Bahama. The government-appointed special committee to review the expired portions of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, along with a cadre of professionals from both the private and public sectors, playing a pivotal role in the review process. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Dowell, among those attending a special called meeting with the nation's chief, the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, along with the Hawksbill Creek Agreement Review Committee.
I'm very pleased with the meeting that we had here on the island of Grand Bahama with the Hawksbill Creek Review Committee, with the Prime Minister to outline some of the results that we have obtained as a result of the Cabinet Negotiating Committee. It's been a very complex negotiation, and we still have work to be done. I would like to thank the committee personally for the extensive amount of planning and work that has been brought forth to the government as a result of their hard work. I also would like to thank the Grand Bahama Port Authority because we've had extensive negotiations, the Cabinet Subcommittee, which is inclusive of myself, led by the Prime Minister, the Minister of Education, the Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini, and the Attorney General.
Minister Dowell joined the nation's leader in the historic exercise. The recommendations put forth to the government, he says, are far-reaching.
The business community, inclusive of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, have made some very strong recommendations going forward that we took into consideration. The Cabinet Negotiation Committee laid the foundation that was necessary for our discussions in Geneva as well as London, in the capital as well in Grand Bahama. And it was very successful. We have definitely found a formula on the way forward. We have come with a working document, and this working document now, we need to build upon it for the best interests of the business community of Grand Bahama and the residents of Grand Bahama, not just Freeport.
As officials continued their due diligence, Minister Dowell stated that he is confident that their efforts will pay off. Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
The Save Our Bahamas Vote No campaign has brought its message to Grand Bahama and is urging members of the public to think carefully before casting a vote to change the country's constitution. They were supported by some prominent figures who are also against some of the gender equality bills. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
Member of Parliament for Marco City Greg Moss says government is using the Constitutional Commission as a propaganda machine to tell people how to vote, which he finds troubling. Moss insists he will vote against Bill 2 and 4, stating that he does not believe Bahamian citizenship should be for sale. Bill 2 would allow a Bahamian woman to pass citizenship to her foreign spouse in the same way a Bahamian man currently can, but Moss says neither men or women should have that right.
I'm encouraging people, step beyond politics, step beyond the propaganda. Think for yourself. These are very important issues. And I'm saying again to the government, shame on you. Shame on you to go and use the public money to try and manipulate public opinion. If you were talking about giving the people a choice, you would have presented both opinions.
Moss's comments came as the Save Our Bahamas Vote No campaign brought its message to Grand Bahama as it held a forum for pastors. Harvey Tynes QC is also opposed to Bill 2.
That individual ought to be treated as a member of a Bahamian family, which he or she becomes upon marriage. What should not follow from that is what I would call the full rights and privileges of citizenship, such as the right to vote and pick the government.
Pastor Rex Major, an original member of the Constitutional Commission from 2002 to 2006, says his only issue is with Bill 4, that seeks to eliminate discrimination between men and women on the basis of sex.
To put sex out by itself, interpreters of that will make a heyday. We need a an amendment stating without any doubt what marriage is in the Bahamas.
Leader of the Save Our Bahamas Vote No campaign, Pastor Lyle Bethel, says he has a problem with all of the bills, mostly Bill 4. He says the referendum is really not about gender equality. Bethel says the group is still waiting for a response for its request to fund its campaign from government.
We are for equality of women, and we find it distasteful when someone says to vote no on their understanding of what it is tantamount to being against our mothers and children. I was raised by a single mother. I have a wife and 2 daughters. I would do nothing that would endanger them having a future. And so it's just specious arguing to say that we are against women and women's rights.
Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
The Constitutional Commission took its education campaign to the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Gambler Drive, where church members were able to have their concerns addressed. Kimberly Mullings was there.
The Constitutional Commission making their rounds on Grand Bahama Island this week, stopping by the Freeport Seventh-day Adventist Church to meet with members Thursday evening. President of the North Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, Pastor Henry Munger, says that educating members on issues of national importance is necessary.
We felt it was very important to make sure that we educated our members on the issues of these bills so that they know exactly what they're about, and so that when they go to the polling station to make their decisions, they're able to make it not based on hearsay, but they're able to make it all after being able to have the time to go through the bills, understand it, and so they can make a conscious decision.
Alicia Wildgoose was in attendance and feels confident as she heads to cast her vote. She shared what she found most fascinating.
The bills do not only pertain to women, it's for women and men. And I think it's important for all Bahamian citizens, and I implore all Bahamian citizens to be educated so that you can make an informed decision. The Constitution Commission came, and before coming here, there was a lot of misconceptions, and there was a lot of things that I was not aware of. But after hearing the information, clarity was given on each bill for me, and I feel that I can make an informed decision that's going to affect our future.
23-year-old Kendia Saunders learned what a constitutional referendum was, and as June 7th approaches, she thinks she can now make a better decision.
I learned that this bill is not the first time we're hearing of this. I learned that this bill was proposed in 2002, and it is now being brought again, and I learned that it can have very adverse effects if it does not pass this time around. It can be another 14 years before we see this again.
Unable to vote, student Paja Saunders is still grateful for the wealth of knowledge she received from the commission and urges other young voters to become more aware.
They should take advantage of the opportunities they are given, because a lot of the young people, before I joined the local government junior council at my school, Jackie High School, I didn't know much about the town meetings and that we had so much say, but now I'm well informed.
Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
4 years after City Market closed its doors throughout New Providence and Grand Bahama, hundreds of employees are still fighting to receive severance pay and pension monies owed to them. Former Chief Inventory Officer Wanslow Turnquest filed an affidavit before Chief Justice Hartman Longley on Thursday, stating that employees and pensioners were owed approximately $20 million. He was joined by a group of former employees from Grand Bahama, where Bahamas Supermarkets Limited closed stores in 8 Mile Rock, downtown, and Lucaya. Turnquest says party arrived at a mutual understanding and have put a $12 million figure on the table for outstanding pension. He says severance will be quantified at a later date.
At this point, the employees in Freeport have suffered tremendously. They have a lot of financial bills, expense, medical. Right now, I had to make a decision this morning. We had to come to a conclusion. I could no longer, as an auditor representing the employees of Bahama Supermarket Limited and their pension, I have an obligation, a legal and financial obligation, fiduciary obligation to them to make sure that all monies owing to them was, is, and was placed on the record in the Supreme Court by law.
Turnquest says for severance For severance, employees are owed in the range of $3.5 million along with interest. At the time of its closure, City Market employed some 356 people, nearly 100 in Grand Bahama, and owes money to about 400 pensioners. Turnquest says he is very concerned about resolving the severance matter. He says he realizes that they may not get everything, but says a decision must be made in the best interest of all.
Over 103 persons that don't have any form of entitlement under the pension fund. I have to make sure that those persons receive due worth, and their monies owing to them is not just quantified to an accurate and responsible figure to cover their liabilities that's owed to them by the defendants, the first, second, and third, and fourth defendant.
Now the group returns to court on Thursday, May 5th. They are represented by attorney Richard Martin. In other news, police are conducting investigations into the death of a man whose body was found in an abandoned car in an industrial area. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
Flies still swarm an abandoned white Jeep on Forest Avenue, where the body of Vaughn Butler was found Friday morning. In the vehicle parked in front of the mechanic shop where he sometimes helped, the blanket that covered his body is left behind. When the media arrived, the body had already been moved. Bradley Burrows first noticed the flies when he leaned on the Jeep.
This morning he didn't move. I always see the blanket moving around in the morning. It didn't move this morning. But there's a bunch of flies over it. And then look at it, it looked like a bad sign, so I called his boss. And let him check it out. And he saw he wasn't moving. So he went over there, and they ran, and he brings someone from over there, and they check him out. And that was it.
ZNS News understands the deceased was believed to be in his late 50s. Butler is described as amicable and someone who helped out in the area.
He's a very nice person. He used to walk, he used to wash cars sometime for the airport and stuff like that. That's the most I know about him. I don't know much about him at that.
Police Press Liaison Officer Inspector Teresita Pinder says police got a call around 8:45 a.m.
Upon officer's arrival, we discovered also a male in the white Jeep who's said to be familiar around the area, who frequents the area, and who's known in this area. And they also say that he sleeps in this white Jeep.
Pinder says Butler was last seen alive Thursday evening, and although homeless, he was helpful to the nearby businesses.
He more or less is the eyes and the ears of the area, and he watches over certain areas around here.
Pinder says foul play is not suspected, and officials believe he died of natural causes. Investigations are ongoing. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Cleo. Stay with us. There's more news after this.